President Trump claims he's pardoning Tina Peters, even though the law says he can't.
Her legal team wants the Supreme Court to grant Trump unprecedented power to overturn state-level crimes, like Peters' scheme to breach Colorado's voting systems. This now starts a standoff as Peters' allies are talking about executing state leaders and federal judges.
This is a lawless act. It's an act of intimidation. It has no basis in American law.
The state of Colorado says it doesn't recognize President Trump's so-called pardon of his political ally Tina Peters. Presidential pardon powers only cover federal crimes. Peters is serving 9 years on state convictions for letting election conspiracy theorists inside Colorado's voting systems while she was the elected Mesa County clerk. Trump's supposed pardon of Peters has no power under the law.
This is an off-the-wall theory. It's total garbage, and any lawyer who argues in favor of this should be embarrassed and ashamed.
Democratic Attorney General Phil Weiser was clear, as was Democratic Governor Jared Polis, who said, quote, "No president has jurisdiction over state law nor the power to pardon a person for state convictions." One of Peters' closest allies, MAGA podcaster Joe Oltmann from Douglas County, has been calling for both the governor and attorney general to be executed for keeping Peters in prison.
I think all these people should be tried for treason and hung. I think Jared Polis should be hung. I think Jenna Griswold should be hung. I think Phil Weiser should be hung. I think they should hang by their neck until dead.
After Trump's announcement of his so-called pardon for Peters, Oltmann repeated his call for the governor to hang and said, quote, "We are in an insurrection." Will she be released by the state of Colorado while this plays out?
No, there's no legal authority for any federal government action to take a prisoner who's in state custody lawfully, having been tried, convicted, and sentenced. This is an important principle of our Constitution.
The Trump administration has failed in a series of attempts to pressure Governor Polis into pardoning Peters or turning her over to federal custody. Recently, Peters' attorney even endorsed the idea of a military raid on the prison in Pueblo to set her free. Her legal team says Trump's pardon should go before the Supreme Court, where they expect the conservative majority to grant him that power.
The winds are starting to die down, and it's almost a wrap on an unseasonably warm day in Denver. In fact, we could be a little less than 3 hours away from hitting a record. 9 News meteorologist Chris Bianchi here now with more on that. Finally, the wind is down. Did we hit that record? You were very excited about that earlier today.
We are close, as you said, exactly right, Alex. We're less than 3 hours away. If that temperature stays at 50 degrees or above, that would tie our warmest low temperature on record for the entire month of December for us here in Denver. Again, that temperature has to stay at or above 50 degrees for us over the next 2 hours and 57 minutes. This is the reason why we are so warm. We've got downsloping Chinook winds, 75-mile-an-hour gusts at around 11 this morning in South Boulder, 90-mile-an-hour gust earlier today at St. Mary's Glacier. Still gusty, just not as bad as what we've seen throughout the course of the day today. Still a little gusty for us in the mountains and foothills. That wind will stick around for tomorrow, though. Still 50 to 60-mile-an-hour winds today, as I was showing you 70 to 80 with some occasional gusts above that. Tomorrow's winds still gusty, but not quite as bad as what we've been looking at through the day today. Still a little bit breezy times for us here in Denver as well, with some gusts into that 20 to 30-mile-an-hour range. Other story, of course, the warmth. We are at 52 right now out at the airport. Keeping an eye on that. 61, though, in downtown Denver right now. When will it maybe feel like, I don't know, December? Details in a few minutes.
A man in Douglas County court pleaded guilty to sexually exploiting a teenage girl and will not spend a day in prison for it.
9 News reporter Rhea Jaw joins us to explain why that is.
Yeah, it's because of Colorado's sex offender laws. This conviction didn't require prison time. It's a legal gap that prosecutors say they've watched play out over and over again. Case after case.
Oh my gosh, almost universally, they don't get the prison sentences that we ask for.
He's watched sex offenders avoid prison, but Republican District Attorney George Brockler says it never gets easier.
If the public were to read these affidavits, they were to hear the victims at sentencing talk about these things, it would be hard for me to imagine many Coloradans saying, yes, I think this person should be able to walk around the community.
In this case, a 33-year-old man named Franklin Kapp admitted to having sexual relations with the 15-year-old daughter of a family friend. Detectives say he took the child to a hotel for sex multiple times, one time after school, and even persuaded her to take Plan B emergency contraceptive.
These are all things that screamed out to us, prison.
DA Brockler's office charged him on 21 counts, including sexual exploitation of a minor, and asked the judge for the maximum penalty, 12 years in prison.
In this case, the judge didn't give any prison at all and instead gave a 6-year community correction sentence.
So we were disappointed that this wasn't a sentence to the Department of Corrections.
Deputy DA Lauren Reibel was in the courtroom when the judge handed down the sentence.
The family left pretty quickly thereafter. They were, I think, pretty disappointed.
Because of how Colorado's sex offender laws are written, the conviction didn't trigger a mandatory prison sentence.
Just the circumstance that we found ourselves in here is really this legal loophole that left us with only probation-eligible charges.
Prosecutors say outcomes like this don't just deny accountability. They risk repeating the cycle.
This is not an I accidentally found myself in an intimate romantic relationship with the 15-year-old daughter of my best friend. This is something much more pervasive in this person's character and likely in their life.
So while this man currently has a community correction sentence, he's also now facing a sexual assault case in Park County involving the same teenage girl. It's a very similar case where prison is possible, but the judge will have to make that decision whether to send him there or not. Ria Jha, 9 News.
2 women hurt in a random attack at a tanning salon in Loveland are now out of the hospital. Police say 20-year-old Kyle Behrens walked into Endless Summer Tanning Tuesday evening with a hammer and a knife. Investigators say he repeatedly hit a 21-year-old employee with that hammer and dragged her into a side room. The employee managed to run into another room where a customer was hiding. Police say he tried to stab both of them, but they were able to fight him off. Behrens now faces a long list of charges, including attempted murder. He's being held on a $500,000 bond.
Lakewood police have a man in custody days after an elderly woman was found dead in her home. They arrested 41-year-old Arthur Maestas yesterday. He's accused of breaking into the home on South Kendall Street off West Alameda. Police say a family member went there Saturday night to check on 83-year-old Elizabeth Johnson and found her body. According to investigators, it looked like someone had broken a window to get in, ransacked the place, somebody started a fire. Maestas now faces several charges, including murder, arson, burglary, and a parole violation. He's being held in the Jeffco jail.
New tonight, a Denver police officer is accused of sexually assaulting someone while on duty. DPD says Officer Henry Stoney was arrested today. They say the assault was reported on November 4th and that it was not while he was responding for a call for service. The 26-year-old is accused in another separate incident too, so he's facing charges including forgery related to his handling of a reported assault. Stoney joined DPD last year. He was removed from patrol the day after the reported assault and directed to work from home. After today's arrest, he was suspended without pay. He's due in court tomorrow morning.
A substitute teacher in southern Colorado says he plans to sue his old school district after he was suspended over a social media post criticizing Charlie Kirk. Chris Sutton works for Pueblo County School District 70. He made a post that was critical of the conservative commentator after Kirk was killed. It was shared in conservative Facebook groups. A handful of people wrote to the district and demanded his termination. Sutton was indefinitely suspended in September. His attorneys then wrote a letter saying the district had violated his First Amendment rights. This month, he got his job back.
No staff member, no teacher should be afraid of having a voice. I'm suing not because I'm looking to make money or get rich, but because of the fact that the district and other school districts need to remember that their staff members and teachers are citizens as well.
School district spokesperson confirmed that Sutton was removed as a substitute and reinstated, but would not go into the details about it, said it was a personnel matter.
Visiting the U.S. may soon get a lot harder as the Trump administration plans to require travelers coming from more than 40 countries hand over their social media histories from the past 5 years if they want to come in.
It's a pretty striking policy change, and one that's going to have both a broad chilling effect on individuals that are considering coming to this country, at the very least just to track down all of your social media that you might have forgotten about over the last 5 years.
Rob Preuss is the chair of political science at MSU Denver. He says the proposal comes on the heels of America's strong statement against Europe and massive shifts in foreign policy objectives, changes that already had allies on edge.
How will other countries respond? Will other countries record social media from U.S. travelers that go forward? That kind of retribution, I think, is not off the table as we go forward.
The proposal would also require Customs and Border Patrol to collect other data like addresses, names of family members, and even email addresses. It isn't final. There is a 60-day comment period for people to weigh in. The Trump administration's stated goal with the potential move is protecting the U.S., but how it would work still isn't very clear.
The Department of Justice is suing Democratic Secretary of State Jena Griswold, seeking personal information about Colorado's registered voters. The lawsuit directs the Secretary of State's office to share a statewide voter registration list. It would include 4 million names, birthdays, addresses, driver's license numbers, or partial Social Security numbers. The Fed started asking states for that information back in May, claiming they need it to root out ineligible voters and voter fraud. But there are questions about whether the state sharing that information is legal. The lawsuit demands the information be provided within 5 days. Today, Griswold said in a statement, they won't be handing it over.